in the mining town of Angel's Camp, a character known as the Man of No Account wandered the streets. Jim Blaine, with his slouch hat and ragged clothing, was a drifter, often overlooked by the bustling miners and townsfolk. His quiet demeanor belied a sharp mind and a kind heart, earning him respect despite his appearance. One evening, the townspeople gathered at the local saloon, where the air buzzed with laughter and tall tales of gold finds. Jim sat alone in a corner, nursing a drink and listening to the boisterous stories. Among the crowd was a newcomer, Ponderosa Pete, a loud prospector full of bravado. He showcased a gleaming nugget he claimed to have found, captivating everyone's attention with exaggerated stories of his adventures. As Pete regaled the crowd, Jim could no longer remain silent. "You've got quite the nugget there, Pete, but the best gold is still out there, waiting to be found," he remarked, drawing the attention of the patrons. Laughter erupted at Jim's words, and Pete, stung by the comment, sneered, "What do you know about gold, old man?" With a glint of mischief in his eye, Jim replied, "More than you think. It's not the gold you find that matters, but the stories you gather while looking for it." The crowd chuckled, but Jim's insight lingered in the air, momentarily overshadowing Pete's bravado. Fueled by drink and arrogance, Pete challenged Jim to a wager. They would each seek out the biggest nugget. If Pete won, he'd take Jim's tattered hat. If Jim won, he'd claim Pete's prized nugget. Jim, bemused, accepted the challenge. The following day, they set off into the hills. As they climbed, Jim maintained a steady pace, while Pete struggled behind, his bravado beginning to fade. They searched for hours with little success until they reached a small creek glimmering with gold dust. Kneeling by the water, Jim sifted through the gravel with practiced hands. Soon enough he uncovered a sizable nugget, its brilliance catching the sunlight. He held it up, grinning at Pete, who stood in stunned silence, disbelief etched on his face. In that moment, Jim realized that true wealth lay not just in the gold itself, but in the journey they had undertaken and the connections forged along the way. The townspeople would come to celebrate Jim's discovery, shifting their perception of him from a man of no account to a figure of respect. As he returned to Angel's Camp, Jim smiled. Knowing he had found something far greater than riches, he had found his place in the community. In a world obsessed with gold, Jim Blaine was a reminder that the stories and friendships cultivated along the way held the most significant value of all.